Hello everybody. Today's deck is simply titled Stromkirk because we have a couple copies of Rune of Stromkirk, and so it was time to do stuff with krakens and various other types of sea life, so to speak. We don't play a tap land because we do have to do something like that. Get rid of do we get rid of? I guess we get rid of a creature. Lots of tap lands going on around here. We need lots of land, so if this is going to be hand destruction, we're going to have to get rid of some of our stuff. Some of our good stuff, just to keep the lands going, for starters. See, Rona's Vortex isn't like Fading Hope. We can't use it to save our stuff. It's not impressive. But we can block a 1/1 with our 0/4 if he lets the egg sit there. And if he bothers to use a removal spell on it, we've got another one coming up. And we're that much closer to the Hullbreaker Horror. Since the only thing he's done in 4 turns is managed to make us discard 1 card, I feel like we might have enough time. We'll see. Once you start to get to 5 or 6 lands, you have access to some spells that can really end the game. Vampire Scrivener. Okay. Now they can actually cause us damage. Do we bother with Rona's Vortex? Not for the Scrivener, but a 4/4 is a little bit too much. So we'll throw it to the bottom of their deck. Companion Egg. Alright, we've got some pieces in place. Ooh, Stromkirk. Perfect. And the final land we need for the horror. That was kind of a waste, wasn't it? They could have had 2 4/3s. They decided to keep the Scrivener going. We get to put... yeah, I guess we'll put him up. He's not quite what we wanted. He's mana value 5 instead of 6. But we get back the creature we had to discard, so that's a win in my book. We will go ahead and block there and there. We're taking a risk. He might have a battle tactic. There you go. Here. You can just go back up into your hand then. And we get to transform Stromkirk. Reveal! No, we don't get to reveal because it was only 5. Okay, so, but here we finally get to use the egg. Sacrifice the egg. We get to return it. And they have to get rid of 1 creature, which will be their 1/1. That'll be fine. Now we got blockers for everybody they got. And we got our own 4/4. So suddenly we're willing to make some trades. He should not be willing to attack us any longer. That's a mistake. I don't want to sacrifice. Don't need to reveal our land. We'll throw our land down. We're still on defense. There's no rush. Okay, now maybe there's a rush. Do we want to sacrifice somebody? Sure, why not? Have him come into play and sacrifice himself. And then we attack. He's willing to make the trade, rather than just mill some cards. That's unusual. Usually when you're playing with Angel of Suffering, you're willing to mill the cards. You've got a strategy that involves getting into your graveyard. Here we can draw 5 cards. That's perfect timing to refill my hand. Should be 1 land in there. Excellent. He's gonna kill Stromkirk. How dare you? Alright. I don't care about surprise. It's my turn. I've got the mana. I'm putting him down. Essence Scatter. You don't get another one. Doo-dah, doo-dah. And you can go back up, and you don't have enough mana to put a second one down this turn. And what can we do? We can just wait, right? We don't have to do squat. Would have been nice to have a transformed Stromkirk go in and attack, but we only have 2 copies, so it's good that we already got him out. Reveal the hand. Creature, enchantment, or planeswalker card. Alright. They'll get rid of the Gargantua. They're playing a numbers game. I like the Acquisition Octopus anyway, because they get to draw more cards. In the meantime, speaking of drawing more cards... Hey! Hey! Return permanent to their hand. Doo-dah, doo-dah. Let's see. What else do we want? I guess we could get another Gargantua back. In the meantime, Acquisition Octopus. We don't need to do anything else there. But we can reconfigure in the same turn. And that means we get to draw our Gargantua right away. And just the Hullbreaker Horror's ability means you need like 2 or 3 spells to counter that. And they were exhausted. Alright, let's go ahead and show you the entire deck after we see what kind of card we got. A Mere Convert, which I think I have at least 3 of those now out of the 4 I want. As we wait for the server to do its magic, we will tell you, anybody new, welcome. This is Tpull's Corner. I'm Travis. The people who are already subscribed know me. They've been around. Stromkirk. We use the alternate art for the deck sleeve cover because it always defaults to that, but I change it to the color version for the use in the deck. I hate using the black and white cards in my deck. They're hard for me to read. It's probably just my old eyes. And what the heck happened to our server? Okay, oh, I only have 2 of those now? Oh well, but at least I have 4 of Rook Hex Gold Nabber now. Okay, let's go ahead and change the view here so we can show you better what types of stuff we have. Okay, here's the star of the show, Runo Stromkirk. He's a legendary vampire cleric with flying, 1/4, so he makes a good chump blocker. When he enters the battlefield, you get to put 1 target creature card from your graveyard on top of your library if you want to. At the beginning of your upkeep, you get to look at the top card of your library. You reveal the card to the opponent. If it's a creature card with mana value 6 or greater, then you get to transform Stromkirk. He turns into a Kraken Horror from a vampire cleric. Now, I haven't read the story, so I don't know. I don't know if there is a backstory to how a vampire cleric turns into a Kraken Horror. But it sounds like it would make for an interesting story. So he's now called Crothus, Lord of the Deep. Becomes a 3/5 flyer, and whenever he attacks, you create a tapped and attacking token. This is a copy of another target attacking creature. Say that 3 times fast. It's like the beginning of Tongue Twister. If that creature is a Kraken, Leviathan, Octopus, or Serpent, create 2 of those tokens instead. So to leverage this, we could do a Vampire Cleric tribal deck or something like that. We could do a bunch of vampires, we could do a bunch of clerics. But we're concentrating on the Kraken, Leviathan, Octopus, or Serpent side of things. So that's what our creatures are going to be. Let's see. What do we got? We have an Acquisition Octopus, which counts. Whenever it deals damage to a player, you draw a card, and you can reconfigure it so if he's attached to another creature, it also works to draw a card. We've got the Biolume Egg. When it enters the battlefield, you get to scry twice. When you sacrifice the egg, you get to return it to the battlefield transformed, and it's transformed into a serpent. And if I had a lot of extra islands, I would sacrifice them to make sure it couldn't be blocked, but that's probably like not a situation that's going to come up too often, because I have a lot of dual lands in here. I only have 5 islands. Anyway, I have 3 of those. I have 1 Mysterious Tome. I have a Reservoir Kraken. I got just the 1 from New Capenna. So he counts with Stromkirk because he's the Kraken. Trample and Ward 2, 6/6. At the beginning of each combat, if the Kraken is untapped, an opponent can tap it. If they do, you tap the Kraken and create a 1/1 blue fish creature token with this creature cannot be blocked. So this fish is good for a couple of reasons in this particular deck. One, he's good for sacrificing. Like I have Eaten Alive and I can sacrifice a creature instead of pay the extra 4 mana. So it's good use for cards like that. But also, if I get the... where do you got them? The Acquisition Octopus out. I got 4 of those. So if I can reconfigure that onto a creature that can't be blocked, then I can run through, hit him for 1 point of damage every single turn, and still draw a card. So that's a nice little evasion type thing there. In the meantime, something else that counts with Stromkirk, the Rot-Tide Gargantua from Innistrad. And I believe that's a symbol for Crimson Vow. When Rot-Tide Gargantua exploits a creature, each opponent sacrifices a creature. So exploit means I sacrifice a creature. That little 1/1 fish is perfect sacrificial fodder for the Gargantua, and so is the Biolume Egg. So I've got a lot of different sacrifice tokens for a Gargantua that shows up. Other creatures that count. Serpents, Tolarian Terrors. Start as 5/5. They become cheaper for each instant and sorcery in your graveyard. And now's a good time to show you the makeup of the deck. It's a little expensive, right? 3.3, it's a little more than average. I only have 11 instants and 2 sorceries. But I have 21 creatures and 24 lands. So I'm using a few more creatures. I usually use like 16 on average, I think. So 21 is getting kind of high for me. I've got 2 of the Hullbreaker Horrors, because they count as Krakens for Stromkirk. And I've got 1 mythic rare of the Bladequill Serpent from Brothers War. And so all of these creature types count with Stromkirk. So if we get him out and transformed, we're good to go. The problem is we need mana value 6 or more for him to transform. So we only have 7 options here that are going to be valid. And I think those are hard to arrange unless we can already get one of them in the graveyard. To help us out with the enemy interaction, Rona's Vortex, we normally want to have the kicker value so we can put the creature or planeswalker at the bottom of the owner's library. But if it's a token, we can just get rid of it for 1. We've got 4 spell pierces, counter target non-creature spell unless its controller pays 2 mana. This is a risky card sometimes because if you get into the later game, of course the controller can afford the 2, right? So it's really for the early stages. But if your opponent doesn't realize you have it and they go all out, then maybe you can make it pay off. We've got 1 wash away to counter target spell that wasn't cast from its owner's hand, or we can just pay the full cleave cost for 3, and it'd be just like a regular counter spell to get rid of any spell. We've got 1 witness protection. Whenever I'm doing blue in the current meta, because we have to worry about things like the Phyrexian Obliterator and various other disgusting cards, I just turn them into a 1/1 and they lose all their abilities. So I always have at least 1 witness protection now in a blue deck. 1 Essence Scatter to counter the creature from coming down in the first place. And this is kind of for my fishies. I got 1 copy of Serpentine Ambush. So here I've got, if I attack with a 1/1 fish, and Stromkirk is out and transformed into Krothos, I can cast Serpentine Ambush on the fish, and it becomes a blue serpent, and then when I attack, I get 2 serpents, I think. I haven't done it yet, but that's the idea. That's why it's there. Anyway, I could also use it on Stromkirk if I'm blocking, and I need to kill something. And 1 Silver Scrutiny, as usual. Having too many of these, it depends on the deck you have it in. There's some people that run 4 copies of this. For me, I don't need too many copies up front, but usually if it comes up mid-game and I need to refill my hand, that's perfect timing. So I might put in a second copy, if I ever get a second copy. Do I have 2 copies of that now? I do. But that would put me in 61. But that's something you can play around with. It's not bad to have a 61 card if that card is a draw card. So a little something to experiment with. My problem with Silver Scrutiny is a lot of times it's because it's an X card. Magic, the algorithm will sometimes treat it as if it's one of the most expensive cards in your hand, and they'll make sure to give you a range, right? They give you a couple of lands, they give you a couple of early spells, and they give you 1 really expensive spell. That's a lot of what happens in your deal. And sometimes I get that in my opening hand, and I don't really like it. So if I have multiple copies, then the odds are I'm going to get that more and more often. I think the only issue that maybe I haven't thought out yet in the deck, and something that I might ask for your guys' feedback on, is I need a way to get one of those bigger creatures into the graveyard and ready from Stromkirk so that we can trigger his reaction on a more consistent basis. And so I didn't want to bring in green. There's a creature tutor elf that you can use in green. But I was pretty wedded to blue and black because that's where all the serpents and octopus are and stuff like that. We'll let him have that one. Should I keep my... Yeah, let's keep our mana dry. We have both Wash Away and we have Spell Pierce, so we shouldn't waste those, especially if he's got one of those artifacts that brings out the growing creatures. He is tapped out, isn't he? Alright. That's kind of a dangerous one to put out if he's got a lot of artifacts. I've learned to have a healthy amount of respect for the Smelter. He needs mana to activate that, so all that we can do really is he can attack. I'm not sure why he's waiting so long. You could put 2 oil counters on this and make it a 3/1. And what do we want to do? I think if we put this down and we put down the tome now, he might feel comfortable at spending all of his mana on an artifact. And we could make good on our Spell Pierce. Let's see what happens. It's a tome right now, so we need 2 open mana to spend. Let that resolve. Gets to draw a card. Gets the land. Do I use the vortex? Yeah, let's use the vortex. Let's just delay a little. I'll just put it back down. It's fine. But we spoiled his plans for now. And let's go draw another card. I need one more land, really. That one's tapped. I want to be able to put down this Terror and be able to maybe protect him with Spell Pierce. Because this makes the Spell Pierce a little bit more worthwhile in this particular deck is when you have ward creatures. They've got to pay for the ward cost. And early on, they may try and kill it and pay for the ward cost. They won't have enough to counter the Spell Pierce at the same time. So I don't tend to like using Spell Pierce a lot in my counterspell decks, but if I've got ward creatures, I will. I think I have a certain amount of Spell Pierce, so I don't usually take it into account when I'm constructing my decks, when I'm facing it. And it gets me, because I don't pay attention to it, right? It gets me a lot. For some reason, my right click is not working. It's like maybe there's a button stuck on my keyboard or something. I have a tendency of right-clicking to show you a card, and for some reason it's not working today. Could be some update that they did. Oh, we have ninjutsu going on. Spell Pierce doesn't stop that. That really took a lot out of the computer to do. Okay, so what I lose, which is what I would have used against that thing. Okay, so now let's put down something that can block. We'll go ahead and pay the 3. What are we on? Full control? That's why. And we'll end the turn. If they get rid of the octopus, we'll just tap the Scion. Oh, we made them stop and think like they're our blue deck. Who knew we could make things so complicated? Furnace Strider. So they could make it gain haste right now, right? If they want to trade me with Nashi, that's a good trade for me to make. It's too late for them to give that haste, though. It's already the attack phase. And they're tapped out, so it's not like I have to worry about a trick. So we pass to blockers. We block with the octopus. And we go ahead and tap this one, just so we can turn this back into the tome. Okay, now we have enough. We can put down a nice little blocker, and we have just enough for Spell Pierce. Even if they put down one land, the removal is usually just to destroy a creature, is usually at least 3, unless they have one of those Shieldred things that makes you sacrifice a creature. Although that is a very popular spell right now. But that should be just enough. Let's see if they do 2, pay for... No, so if they use Shieldred's Intent, or whatever that was, they could make me sacrifice it. Other than that, Spell Pierce should work. We've had enough other interesting things. They should have removal. They're both black and red. They could have direct damage, too. Made you think again! All you do is put down a 1/1. You could remove an oil counter and give it haste. Urbas Anointer. Okay, so he can do 2 damage to me, basically. No, that has Ward 2. That's going to fizzle. They messed up on that. That's a misplay. Will that alone cost you the entire match? While we're waiting for this guy to make his move and think about things, for the new people, if you haven't subscribed yet, consider subscribing for me. And as I always, I ask everybody to hit the like button. Almost nobody does. It's okay. I'll just be here lonely without any likes. I'm not sure if we should be putting pressure on him or not. I kind of want one more land, so I have the Spell Pierce protection for the Hullbreaker Horror. Flying makes pressure on me. What does Kethic do? At the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice a creature. Non-legendary creature card with lesser value. So we'd get something that at most is 4. But again, the thing that I'm most worried about is the Phyrexian Obliterator that costs us 5 permanents. And basically take out most of my land. I'd have to start from scratch. Got a lot of Phyrexian cards. And then 1 Voldaren Bloodcaster. Let's see, they can sacrifice... Oh, perfect. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Do I bring down... I kind of want to keep the Hullbreaker Horror as a surprise. They could have another ninjutsu trick in their hand. That could mess us up. They've got something that's holding up priority. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, let's bring it down now. Nothing extra. We get to draw a card out of it, and they have to discard a card, right? Based on the number of colored mana that we use to cast it. I could have saved it for one more turn to do, you know, one thing extra, right? I think it would have chosen either... I think it would have chosen blue mana or black. It would have chosen 2 black mana, so we could have made him discard 2 cards, but... They've got enough of a board here that I kind of want to just act now. They're tapped out, so they have to choose something to do. Honeymoon Hearse. Okay. No attacks. They can fly over our head still with the Bloodcaster, but we've got a little bit of time before we have to worry too much about that. Now I have a target for the removal with no ward, though, so they can afford stuff. Plus, I don't have Spell Pierce ready. It's tapped out. I might be willing to attack with Blade Coil Serpent next turn, just to... I mean, that would be a good one to get into the graveyard, so when Stromkirk shows up... Oh, hello! What, do you got a board wipe? Okay, so I want to make sure that the Serpent dies. Let's go ahead and block all the big ones. It's possible they got a board wipe after this, but otherwise they're going to lose. Okay, so Serpent dies, which is what we wanted. They saved their Furnace Strider. What about the other 2? Are they willing to lose them? Well, that was useless. He was already going to die. That was another misplay. That's 2 points that you didn't need to give to anybody. I don't understand this guy's thinking. I don't think he's thinking right. Okay, Kraken is perfect. That gives me the Sacrificial Fish soon for the Rot-Tide Gargantua. And this is Chilling Chronicle right now, so I'm just going to tap the Bloodcaster next turn. Don't need to tap the Kraken when he's got Summoning Sickness. There's no danger for that combat phase. He could tap him if he wants to go and attack unblocked. But with only one card, and they all have Ward 2. We're looking good. $20 cards in, and no Stromkirk yet. And we wait. They know they can't really attack. Do they bother to attack with the Bloodcaster? They do. Alright, well, I'm going to tap this one. That kind of opens the door for me a lot. I'm going to do the combat first and see if they want a chump block. Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, so they've got to decide if they're going to tap my Kraken again. They do, which leaves them wide open for a 10-point hit. Well, 11 points. Then I take the tap fish that's there. I kept expecting something more from them, but I think they had at least 2 misplays. I mean, they would have done the damage onto me, so it would really just have taken my health down to 9, so maybe it wouldn't have mattered too much over the long haul. But we will exploit the fish. We sacrifice the little 1/1 fish that's tapped, and they have to get rid of 1 creature. Resolve all that. We don't draw a card yet because we want to see if they have a big spell. If they did a burn down the house, for example, we could spell pierce that. Necrosquito. So if they want to burn more of their blood tokens, and this is why the Bloodcaster's in there basically, is to give them a lot of stuff. Let's see, put 2 on it until end of turn. Oh, Spell Pierce is perfect for that. I made good my Spell Pierce. Woohoo! Okay, they don't. I was gonna really rub salt into the wound and give them a whole breaker, but they decided they read the writing on the wall. Alright, well, let's try again. I'd like to get Stromkirk out one more time. There are a number of blue cards where you can draw a card and discard a card. That's an easy way if I already have a large creature in my hand to get into the graveyard. But I need to look through the current environment with all the expansion cards we have and see about finding a creature card and throwing it into the graveyard. Back a few expansions, there was a nice card that would allow you to do that. I don't know if we have something like that right now. I can't think of one off the top of my head. But we're not really afraid of hand destruction too much because we've got something that if they make us throw it away, as long as they don't have graveyard hate, if it's just hand destruction, if it's just discard cards and not necessarily exiling the graveyard, we're not too concerned about that. And we won a couple in a row, so we might just die because they gave us 3 expensive cards up front. Although, maybe it's worth using Essence Scatter on the Ronin. No, no, it's a Samurai deck. I think we'll have to keep the Essence Scatter for something more consequential. See, it's still going to be a while. Still going to be a while. Tapped land. Okay, so... yeah, there may be a death by 1,000 cuts if we don't use this. They might get us this way as it is. Okay, tap land comes out. Here I'm counting on them having a legendary creature, a legendary samurai. It's just a selfless samurai? Alright, we'll use it on that. We'll have a chance. They're kind of running out of ammo here. Okay, so we've got 4. Let's try the octopus. We've still got enough health here to see if they've got removal or not. I like the idea of getting rid of the samurai more than getting rid of the etching of kimono. And that doesn't have haste. And they're all 2/2s, so I don't really care about the Ronin quite as much. Really? They like the idea of getting rid of the recyclable, I guess, so they're not paying the cost so much. Okay, but now we have somebody who can block these guys. But he didn't end up with anybody good in the graveyard yet. Ah, that's the one I was waiting on. I don't have enough mana to throw it to the bottom of the deck now. Do they only send it? Okay. We gotta survive, right? They'll get it back is a problem. Okay. I guess we're doing this. So he'll probably sacrifice the samurai, right? To make it indestructible. That's fine. We really have to block there. Oh, he didn't sacrifice the samurai. Interesting. Huh. Alright, we're not going to exploit this, but we'll just put it down. Sometimes if you have a second one of these, he'll go ahead and do it again. We're not going to exploit. We'll keep Stromkirk. There's still a chance to turn him into a 3/5. And we've got 4 or 5 other potential options to turn up a big creature on our draw. My problem is that one has first strike and they can pump it up. So it's getting through. Interesting how it waited. And still not a big creature. Shoot. That's going to be tapped. So I have to use a Serpentine Ambush. And we're hoping he doesn't get a 6th land, actually. Because then he can pump up the Stinger twice. If they were smart, they'd put the battery on the Stinger. I would have to talk about that, wouldn't I? All right. Pump it up. Now it becomes a 5/3. We have to do this with Stromkirk, which does mean we get to save Stromkirk. But we lose the Gargantua. And they're holding up priority because they can sacrifice the Samurai anytime they want. They can use it on that warrior too. It wasn't going to die. Why? I don't understand that. Oh, because it was... Oh, I did it... Okay. They did save it. Oh, we get to reveal. Bingo. They know we have it. So we play it. We're still defending because our health points are so low. But things are not looking as good for you now. Facebreaker. All right. There's a clock running now. Oh, okay. Oh, I'm so sorry. Return. Let's return you. We attack. We create a copy. Oh, and we create 2 copies because the creature is a Kraken. Unfortunately, we die. His life points were just too high. He can just attack with everybody now. But I wanted to show you guys what happens. Attacking with 3 Hullbreaker Horrors is kind of fun. I didn't want to pass that up. And I think with that Shivan anyway, he would have. I think he would have had lethal on us with everybody there. He got too many things. All right, let's go ahead and go one more time. All right, we got Stromkirk out. We transformed him. We showed him creating double the tokens with an appropriate creature type. That's the main concept of the deck. Granted, we lost. Yes, I should have waited. But who knows what our next spell was going to be. Do we start taking the poison now? Yeah. I think we need to save Witness Protection for somebody like Elish Norn that they always seem to have now. Oh, they're really going to kill us fast. Not as much poison, so much as little aggro rush deck. Three, four, five. Okay, you know what? I think I need to save myself the 3 points of damage there. We will get that in as a 0-4 blocker, so even if they pump up the wolf, we're still saved from the 3. And both of those are good spells to have coming up. Now they can tap one of our creatures. I kind of like the way they're doing it. They've got evasion, right? They could tap one of us with that. They could fly over our heads with that. We're just stopping the poison counters at this point. Kraken. There's no need to tap it right now. But I don't have 3 poison counters yet, so it still costs them 4. So they wouldn't be able to tap it and pay the ward 2 cost. They could only tap the egg. And if they tap the egg, I'm still blocking the poison, so I don't want that to get cheaper for them to use. But there are a couple of spells that allow them to fly over and get poison and stuff like that. Nope, see, that's a misplay. They can't pay the ward cost. It's not an even spell, it's abilities too. Oh, wait. Maybe it's not. 3, 4. Blah, 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 blah. Oh no, they tapped it at the beginning of the combat. Okay, so there we can block with that. And we can block there. So they still get a creature back with poison. I think we're going to do that one more time. Here they could tap this here, but they'd still give me a 1/1 fish, and that would let me block the might. And that's the big thing we're trying to do right now. I'll keep my mana dry to stop any surprise spell. 6 mana. Okay, we'll get rid of that. Hey, the right-clicking works now. We don't want a creature that can pump up more than 3. Snarling Wolf we can sort of control a little bit. Are you still going to attack with everybody? They are. So they lose their poison, we can block the 3/3, and they're out of ammo. Which means we can start doing stuff. Still trying to be patient. We want witness protection for something more powerful than a 1/2 with flying. I don't know why you bother pumping up your wolf when he's tapped on defense. Now we just need some land. He can't attack with the Sinew Dancer. He's attacking with the Sinew Dancer. Wow. He's attacking with everybody. Is this like... Is your normal deck a mono red deck and all you know how to do is turn around and attack? I need more land, so at some point I attack with the octopus, he gets me a card draw. At some point I'm going to get more land. Again, useless. You can chump block. Finally decides not to lose creatures. That gives me the land I want. Yeah, now we're getting more into things. That could transform next turn. And he can exile stuff from my graveyard, which I don't like, because I like having my creatures in my graveyard for Stromkirk. Starts to get the oil counters. He's just wasting his mana to pump this up. He didn't tap this guy, so he's going to lose him. My opponent doesn't seem too bright. Alright, we don't have a fish right now. Let's go ahead and see if he gives me a fish. I want a fish to sacrifice to Gargantua. Although I could just sacrifice the egg. So, we attack there. I'm kind of slow walking this. I could try and force the issue by attacking with the Kraken, but I'm kind of waiting to see if Stromkirk will show up at all. Okay, so we draw a card, another horror, which I don't quite have enough land for yet. Alright, let's go ahead and sacrifice the egg. They get to choose which one they're going to lose. I would get rid of the cultivator, probably. But my opponent seems to be making a lot of misplays. Alright, sorry, we had the doorbell ring. That was UPS delivery man. We'll let the boy get that. Can still fly overhead, and he does. He's got vigilance, so there's no reason for him not to. It doesn't... It's too late for me to tap him, although I needed 1 mana free for that. Oh, that's kind of nice. I've got so many options here. Everybody attacks. That should be lethal. Well, he's going to have to block with the lookout. I've got trample here, so the best thing to block would be the Gargantua. Did he not block? He just gave up. Okay. That was not too tough. He made at least 3 mistakes in there. Slimefoot Survey. Alright, we'll do one more. It's always nice when your deck can win without the key concept. We have the thing that we think puts us over the top. When Stromkirk comes out and we get a nice big creature that comes with him, that is a very nice winning combination. But the fact that we can win while doing other things with the deck means that we've got a well-rounded deck. And few things in matter life more than having a well-rounded deck. You know what I mean? Green-White Selesnya, it's been forever since we faced that. Normally these guys are too fast for us. But we do have a 0/4 blocker that might give us a little bit of time. Oh, the Throngs are there already. The Throngs showed up in the very beginning. we need an enterprising individual who's creative with the song making. I want to make Magic the Gathering song based off the Thong song, but we want to make it all about the Gathering Throng instead. I think it'll be catchy. That's top 10 material right there. Now you could have tapped that to get lifelink, right? Okay, they will. They will. It's just taking a while for the activation. Okay, so we get the egg in. They can pump up their life, which could be a problem for us later. That's a good sacrifice thing for the egg. And we've got... We're going to have 4 so we can use the vortex. So I think we're still okay. It always seems to be depending on what exactly they've got. Like if they put Adeline down, we'll probably save Rona's Vortex for Adeline. Since I've got 0, I'm no threat, so they'll probably attack with both of those. Which means they're not gaining life, they're attacking. Wow, I'm the one with the blue in my deck, and they're the ones taking all the time thinking. It doesn't normally take Green-White Selesnya this long to think. You're just putting out the fast, cheap spells and swarming me. Ah. I see. So they don't bother to attack with the Silver Serpent at all. However, this is a good way for us to use this, right? Because they're tapped out. So we'll go ahead and sacrifice a creature. We'll get rid of the 4/2. And we'll get a 4/4 back. And that means we still save the vortex for something more important. No more Throngs in their deck. Some people like to update the deck and have 4 copies in it. Just because when they get enough land, they can put a couple more extra down. Didn't make any sense for them to attack yet, but they could put this on a creature. So that's why we're going to save the Vortex. We're not going to do anything. We'll wait till they actually use the Homestead Courage. And once they get somebody who is power 4, then they'll go to the bottom of the deck. Ah, there's a Throng. They already had it in their hand, I think. Yeah? They probably want to save their Gala Greeters, so that means they'll probably stick it on the Throng. But that means they'll probably also only attack with the Throng. Sometimes if they think... Like, they don't want to attack with both because they think I'll let the 4 damage through just to take out the Civil Servant. So that means they're probably... Oh, they're not going to do anything. They did absolutely nothing. Give me a Kraken then. If they give me a fish at some point, then I've got sacrificial fodder to bring down Gargantua. I just need 1 more land. This is shaping up like some of my normal battles where my opponent gets a couple lands up on me. They can cast a couple spells in a single turn. Now there's one that I might just throw down at the bottom of the deck. Finally, Gala Greeters gets to be a 4/4. Are they willing to start trading? No, they're not. Because they didn't tap the Kraken. This is good. This is good. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Still no land. Ah! Okay, we're doing nothing. We want them to commit to an attack. What's it going to take? We want them to tap the Kraken and give me a 1/1 fish so I can take out one of the Throngs. Although maybe we just, before the attack, because it creates a 1/1 green and white creature token. If they don't already create a creature and pump up the Gala Greeters, maybe I do it before the battle and not give them the extra growth. Like maybe as soon as they cast the Courage on something. 7 lands. Kind of glad that was land, that they're flooding out a tiny bit more than me. Okay, do you give me the fish token? Okay. That goes to the bottom of the deck. And that's just a little tempo gaining move that should give me another free turn to maybe get some land in here. And the more land that I get, the more I can cast stuff. We're going to wait again. With 2 more Rona's Vortex, time's kind of on our side. And that's where you put it, huh? I wouldn't have expected them to use that now. That seems like they're giving up a potential good strategical point. Really? That does do 6 damage. Is that your whole plan? Are you happy with that? You're giving up 2 creatures to deal 6 damage to me? Oh. That's... Oh, hang on. We can just spell pierce that. You went all out. I think you done messed up. If you're not giving me a token, I'm just going to go ahead and attack now. They need to have a creature to tap in order to tap with the Kraken, though. And even if you have another one of those, it doesn't give trample. so I can keep blocking. I can block because I got stuff to replace. Oh, hello. You're going to pay the ward cost for that, huh? Okay. I'm okay with that. I'm very okay with that. Would I wait to get the land to pay for that, or just sacrifice it? Let's go ahead and do this. We can get all of you out of the way if you're gonna double block. But that means you're dry. No, you just take the 6 points. Life is good. Still no sign of Stromkirk again. Well, it's taken a while for them to figure out their moves. Haven't quite gotten through 20 cards yet. Maybe I do need to put that extra silver scrutiny in here, so I've got, you know, like now would be a good time for it to pop up. Could draw 3 cards, at least one would be a land. But I do have my land. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I could just pay for this and let them draw a card, right? Activate. Now you have to block. I've got lethal coming in. And those 1/1s are like gold to me because the Throngs only have toughness 1. Everyone attack! They could flash in 1 creature, right? But they don't have the reinforcements card, do they? What was that? 3 damage and you gain 2 life. Okay. You gotta pay the ward cost for that. Do you have a second one? You need a second one. They have enough to pay the ward cost if they have 2 of them. And that would keep them alive, but they would definitely need to have something that could give the extra point of damage next turn to make it all worth their while. That's a big gamble to top deck. Okay, they don't have it. Why would you that's only 3 damage. That does keep them alive. Can you go from 3 damage to 7 next turn with the 1 card you have in your hand? It does get rid of the Kraken. No, because the Kraken had trample, right? Yeah, it had trample. We both forgot about that. Alright. That's a lot of wins in a row. I was concerned about that because there's so many cards that are expensive creature costing cards. I thought maybe I'd run into land problems. And I was kind of slow in getting the land that I wanted, but it wasn't like I got starved on any one particular game like the last week. I've been getting stuck at 2 or 3. So we'll give you one more look at the deck. The Reservoir Kraken is an awesome card. 4 Rot-Tide Gargantuas I was thinking might be too many, but it turns out I had just enough sacrificial fodder between the eggs and the 1/1 fish that it was a very good fit. And even to use it for eating alive was good. And we didn't have any of the really big cards, but you know, we were ready with Witness Protection, and we actually, Spell Pierce, we kind of made good on it almost every time it came up. So, it seems to be really good. And I'm a big fan of Ronor's Vortex. When I get that kicker cost, just throwing it to the bottom is basically the same as, you know, exiling it or killing it for the most part. In some cases, it's even better because they can't dig it out of their graveyard. And we even got to see an appearance by the Blade Coil Serpent, which was cool. Alright, I think I'm going to keep this deck. I'm going to keep playing with it and have more chances. If I get another Stromkirk, I'll throw him in there so that I've got 3 copies and maybe have more chances. And maybe, you know, if I have to cut one, I'll cut one of the Gargantuas to fit in another copy of Stromkirk. Just because this is 5 at 5 mana, it doesn't meet the threshold for getting Stromkirk out. So, and if I get more Hullbreak Horrors in, maybe maybe another Hullbreak Horror goes in place of Gargantua too. Just give us another potential trigger there. But go ahead and leave me your comments. What would you change about this deck? Do you like it? And whether you like this particular deck or not, if you like your time here spending with me, go ahead and like and subscribe. Thanks, everybody. We'll catch you next time. Have a good one.